Hello there! So with G22 right around the corner, I wanted to make a quick video regarding the techniques that are coming out. You will be able to unlock the techniques at some point over the course of G22. I have no idea how that'll play out, but translations of what the techniques are and what they do have been floating around the North American community. So I have compiled a tier list of them, because you can only pick 5 of the 10 for your active use at a time, and I would like to share what I think are the useless ones, and what I think are the really great ones. Now this is based on the translations of what they do in Korea, so things pending. There may be some major changes to how effective these actually are once those of us in North America can actually get our hands on them. This is pure speculation just based off of the images that I'm about to show you. But first of all, at trash tier, the absolute worst card by far is near-death regeneration, or whatever it's going to be called. Once again, this is all Korean translations. These are not necessarily going to be exact to North America. It's a passive ability that gives you a chance to restore your health when you hit 0 HP. You can, depending on how much you've invested into this card, restore anywhere from half to full of your health at a low chance, and it pushes enemies away. Apparently you need the Transcended Death title and the Obsessed with Rebirthing journal achievement. But no matter what, this card is useless, because any enemy that you're fighting that is strong enough to get you to 0 HP to begin with is probably doing so by knocking you to deadly first and then killing you. And just the very existence of deadly status will give you the ability to heal with a full recovery potion or something else. So compared to the other 9 cards that are all so much better, this is by far the worst card. Next up we have the bottom tier, or what I would describe as being not very good, but still potentially marginally useful. So we have Transcendence Life. Now this is an activatable ability that when you activate it gives you anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 bonus health and fully heals you. And the reason I've put it this far down the list is you don't need 4,000 to 13,000 total health. There is nothing in the game that can ever harm you that badly. Essentially, it's a complete waste of an active. You would only ever really use it for the full heal, and that's it. But then you're stuck, you know, compared to everything else that's better on the list, this just doesn't really do anything for you. And it can actually be detrimental for you against enemies that deal percentage HP based damage like Girgashi or Hasidium. So that's why this is the 9th on the list. Next up we have the increased protection and magic protection passive. Now this isn't so bad. The reason it's low on the list for me is that you shouldn't be getting hit by anything that where only 5 extra protection is going to make or break the difference. It gives you plenty of magic protection, but you only get like 5 to 18 protection total for all the investment that you get into this. So it's really not that useful. Plus, there's going to be formula changes to how defense and protection work in G22, which make the next card on the tier list actually better than this one. And that's the increased defense and magic defense. At maximum rank, you could get anywhere from 300 plus defense, and because the new formula has defense factor in after protection, that actually makes this slightly better. Because it'll finally actually make defense a useful skill and give you so much more. Even so, this is only the quote-unquote best card in the bottom tier, because all the other cards are still better. Now moving into low tier, which is what I would call things that have questionable utility, but still vaguely useful. We have the Elemental Enhancement skill. Now this is a passive that works for weapon elementals. Now I'm not sure if this works on elemental reforges or if you just need to like use a fire elemental onto your weapon. And I'm also not sure if this applies to magic and alchemy elements, though I assume it would. But I don't actually know. And I'm also not sure if you elemental a wand, if it carries those effects over to any magic that you use. So this card and its placement is the most ambiguous out of all the cards. This could either be extremely trash or extremely good, depending on the very specifics of how it's implemented. Fire elementals give you a bleeding effect similar to Smash. Ice is just the Ice Bolt effect, which you could activate now with a weapon instead of an Ice Bolt. And Lightning reduces the durability consumption of your weapon by, I believe, up to about half or slightly more than half. So Lightning could be useful and Fire could be useful. Ice, not so much, but it remains to be seen. And then we have the Advanced Heavy Stander skill, which when activated just gives you Advanced Heavy Stander. Which doesn't seem like it would be that useful, but there are some cases where you're doing like cast speed firebolt spam, or if you're doing some sort of magnum spam, or just something where you need to make sure you're not going to be stunned while you're doing your DPS. This could possibly be useful. At the very least, I can see it being more useful than everything lower than it on the tier, which is why it's up here. And now next up we have mid-tier, which is what I would consider pretty useful, and every card from here on up should pretty much definitely be in your active set, because they just outpace everything else. So there's Rapid, or whatever it's going to be called in the North American translation, because I doubt it's going to just be called Rapid. It decreases your attack delay, gives you a bunch of different speed things. It's essentially your I need to hit many times now active ability. Unfortunately, the ranged aiming speed decrease, or increase, I know for a fact does not stack with Vision of Aladeka, so it's not that good for archers, since you're probably going to be an elf if you're an archer. But for pretty much everyone else, could be a useful way to increase your DPS. We then have Time Distortion. I believe the official translation for this is Time Shift, but it allows you to ignore the cooldown of your skills so that you can use the same skill up to, I think, 5 times in a row. The busy title is obtained by completing 3 part-time jobs in a single in-game day. This skill doesn't affect Crusader abilities, and it doesn't affect Nova of Obliteration from the Divinity skill set. And it also has a duration when you activate it, in which you must use those however many bonus times. So for example, you can only final hit 2 consecutive times with it, because you'll do the first final hit, and then you have to wait out the whole duration of final hit before you can activate the next one, which is about the same length as Time Shift would be active for. But this skill could still be useful to, say, do 5 lightning rods back to back, or get off 3 meteors in a single instance, or something. And then in high tier, for the 2 top must-haves, I should not see anyone walking around without these 2, in my opinion, as of recording. First, we have Weakness Pierce, or Rapid Penetration, whatever it's going to be called, where for the 3 minutes that you activate this, you get a 15% damage increase to all of your skills, And if you've fully maxed out this card, it gives you 1 piercing level for its duration. Which means that pretty much every boss fight you ever fight, you'll now have 15% damage increase and an extra 1 piercing. And if you're fighting a boss for longer than 3 minutes, then tough. But hopefully this will let you keep the fight 3 minutes or less. It is an insane damage boost that stacks with everything else. It's not all the time, but do you really need that much damage boost for something that's not a boss fight? And at the very top tier, we have Continuity Attack, or what many people are just calling the Reaper Attack, because of the way the animation plays. It's a 10 to 15% passive chance for 200% of the last attack you dealt to be dealt again by the Reaper, which is about a 30% bonus damage increase just passively on average. So this one for sure everyone needs. Imagine you crit something that's 20k, I don't know, a firebolt, a magnum, a lightning rod, wherever you're at, and then the Reaper just comes back around and hits again, so that your 20k crit is now a 60k crit, just passively. It should be self-explanatory why this is the best one. These rankings are not likely to change, in my opinion, when G22 comes out, with the exception of Elemental Empowerment. But nonetheless, keep an eye out, keep an open mind. We may find surprising utility from the things that I've ranked lower on the tier list. There may be some surprising non-usefulness coming out of things higher on the tier list, like the attack delay and cast speed one. Yeah, maybe not useful. So as a tier list summary, at very bottom tier, we have the full revive on death. At bottom tier, we have the protection bonus, the 10k health active, and the defense bonus. In low tier, we have elemental empowerment and ADV heavy standard. At mid tier, we have cast speed and attack delay, and time shift. And at high tier, we have weakness pierce and Reaper attack. My personal picks, as a primarily mage and chain blade user, are going to be continuity attack, weakness pierce, time shift, advanced heavy standard, and then either the attack delay cast speed or the elemental empowerment, depending on how good elemental empowerment is when it releases. Thanks for listening this long, and I hope you all have fun when G22 comes out on January 10th.